reach out, give us a call. We'll be able to help out. At this time, I'd like to introduce you to our speakers for today. We have Ben, Matt, and Sean. Ben is the VP of Product Marketing with Nuvolo. Matt is the Executive VP with iTech AG. And Sean Hill is the Federal Solutions Consultant over at Nuvolo. Team, the floor is all yours. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Brooke. And thanks, everyone, for taking a few minutes to join with us today. This is a really relevant topic as we think about organizations around the world, whether they be federal agencies, whether they be state and local organizations, or whether they be higher education. Everybody right now is looking at their workplace and looking at how they make sure that as employees and customers start returning and coming back into these buildings, how are we facilitating that safe return to the workplace, right? Organizations want to make sure that employee safety and well-being is certainly a top priority for almost every organization out there. As that continues, as the COVID crisis continues, how we reopen the office and workplace is really important. So with this, I'll do some quick introductions for the folks that are going to be presenting today. So Sean, next slide. Great. So my name is Ben Pearson. I'm our Vice President of Product Marketing. I've been with Nuvolo for about 5 years now, and I've been working with organizations previous to COVID as well at really looking at how they manage their workplace. And everything, we'll talk more about all the capabilities, but space management in general right now is the big hot topic as we think about maintaining and also preparing these workplaces. So excited to have this opportunity and conversation with all of you today. With me, I have Matt Tiani, and Matt is the Executive Vice President of Technology Solutions for iTech AG. We'll talk more about this partnership between Nuvolo and iTech here very soon, but excited to have Matt. Thanks for joining us. And with me as well is Sean Hill, and Sean actually comes from the State Department. He ran facilities there at the State Department. He is now a Federal Solutions Consultant at Nuvolo, but his experience from working in the federal government and working to manage facilities and workplace areas certainly brings that expertise to this call today. So I'm excited about this team and looking forward to the conversation we'll have in front of us. Next slide. A little bit about the partnership. So Nuvolo and iTech AG. So Nuvolo, we are a software solutions company. We build software solutions for the workplace. That's our business. That's what we do every single day. We wake up and we ultimately want to deliver solutions that our customers, our buyers are looking for to ultimately drive improved workplace environments for their business. With us, we have iTech, and iTech is a key partner for Nuvolo. iTech does implementation services and ultimately drives streamlined execution, driving outstanding service for clients, and they've had proven results. There's a number of clients that we've worked together on and ultimately delivering great results for our customers jointly. Next slide. If we talk about the agenda today, we're actually going to cover 10 main areas. As we go through, feel free to use the Q&A option on the left-hand side of your screen. You should be able to drop in questions. We will save questions for the end. We'll try to field as many of those as we can after we go through both this presentation and demonstration today. Well, what I'm going to cover first is really around these workplace challenges. What's going on in the workplace? What's driving the need for solutions as we look at the workplace as a whole? Then we're going to go into key factors for a safe workplace. What are some of the things we need to look at? How are we aligning technology and process, right? Because in the end, it does take both. We need technology and process to maintain that safe workplace. You're probably seeing that technology plus process in things like your local grocery stores. You see directional arrows in aisles. You see new processes being put in place that didn't exist before. We'll talk about some specific examples. Matt's actually going to take you through some very common use cases that he's been seeing with clients in the field. So Matt's actually going to take you deep in. And then Sean's going to dive into a solution demonstration. Going to walk you through a demo of the solutions that Nuvolo provides, and so you'll actually get a chance to actually see a sneak peek at all the capabilities there. I'll take you into this concept we call the connected workplace. I'll talk more about what that means. Historically, organizations, especially in the federal agencies, run very siloed, department by department in their facilities organizations. I'll talk about what Nuvolo is doing to bridge the gap between these departments and bring together a true connected workplace for the enterprise. I'll talk about the architecture a little bit at the end, and then Matt will wrap us up with how iTech implements Nuvolo, that implementation approach, and our call to action and connection, and how we can get a hold of us. So that's our plan for the day and the plan for the next 30 minutes. So looking forward to the conversation. So Sean, next slide. So as we look at the kind of these workplace challenges, or what's going on in the workplace, every organization that I've spoken with, they're all looking at, across the world, are all looking at how to run their workplace, how to adjust and how to actually set up their workplace for the reopening process. And they think, Matt's going to dive into some specifics here, but it's a lot of specific areas. But in the end, all three of these areas all roll into one common theme, and that's making sure the workplace is safe for employees and customers to use. That's the objective, right? So, for example, I'm down here in Alabama. When I went to get my license plates and my tags, I had to go do social distancing. I had to wear a mask. I had to get a temperature screening when I came in. Right, all of those new practices had to be put in place by the local DMV here to make sure that when I go into that federal building, that state local building, that I have all of those safety guidelines put in play. There's a number of aspects that are going to be looked at. Matt's going to take you into some specifics. But things like social distancing, things like your office and seating arrangements, things like your cleaning processes, right? You think about hospitality industries, for example. Cleaning processes have to be increased, and they have to ultimately make people that are using those services feel safe and be safe. So those are the key challenges. We'll talk about solutions to that when we dive into Matt's area. Next slide. Great. So in the end, it's more than just the technology. As much as we love to talk about technology at Nuvolo, right? It takes both. It takes technology and business process, and both of those combine to deliver a safer workplace for your organization. And this isn't a one-time thing. This is something organizations should be doing as an ongoing measure for their organization, pre-COVID, post-COVID. To me, it really doesn't matter. This safety and cleanliness and sanitization and all of those things that we need to think about, those things shouldn't be a one-time activity, and they shouldn't be irrelevant of COVID, right? It could be any situation that comes up, whether it be the annual flu season or other activities, that ultimately we want to deliver a safer workplace for our employees and our clients. So it does take both. It does take that technology and process. We think about cleaning rounds. We'll dive into that in a second. We think about reservations of space, being able to book and make sure that those spaces are clean, but also looking at utilization metrics as part of your space, as well as people do come in to the workplace going forward. With that, what I'd like to do is get into some real details, and I'd like Matt to take you through some of the specifics, and Matt will have some use cases he'll take us through. So with that, Matt, I'm going to turn it over to you, and we'll dive into the next pieces of this.
Hey, thanks, Ben. Let's go ahead and walk through the next slide then. So as you alluded to, iTech AG is a technology consulting firm, and our goal is to deliver innovative solutions to our customers to modernize their systems and processes. So that's why we've been teaming with the Nuvolo for several years now to help our customers really unlock their true potential. So most recently, with the COVID crisis happening, we've been leveraging this platform to provide our customers the confidence and the security required to come back to their offices. So the beauty of this platform, as you've been hearing, is it's already designed to enable these types of activities. And as we'll see here in a minute, we're able to upload and diagram floor maps and import all of your asset inventories, and they're all maintained within the system, and we can rapidly manipulate this to provide automation and safety within the workspace. So inventory tracking, things of that nature, they're key features. And we can see in real time the amount of hand sanitizers or masks that are available, but also auto-generate work orders and purchase requests or order forms when certain thresholds are hit through depletions. So integrating the inventory with the location data, we can even show our customers, not only how many of an item, let's say ventilators if we're in a clinical setting, but where exactly they are. So this is really providing resources the comfort level that they may have to come back to the office. So let's go into the next slide, please. All right, so some common use cases. So as we're working to reopen with our customers, we're consistently seeing three main use cases. First is space planning. So we're all doing our part to practice social distancing and staying regulatory 6 feet apart has been referenced in the DMV. So the workplace is really no different, but we're preparing our customers for what we call professional distancing. So this can involve blocking off workstations to plan occupancy at specific capacities and at a minimum of 6 feet apart. So a lot of organizations are operating what they call shifts or teams or waves, and maybe splitting days or weeks into various schedules. So we can rapidly create visual depictions, as you see on the left, and what Sean will take you through here in a second, of what this would look like, and then at the end of the shift, automate the work order to have that location cleaned. So that brings me into my next use case, and this is the most predominant one, really, the cleaning. And it's not just cleaning, but it's sanitization and disinfecting, all in accordance with the CDC guidelines. So what are you seeing on the right-hand side? Well, the native Nuvolo app and product can be configured to provide checklists. So as the CDC updates the proper steps for sanitization, we can have this on the mobile device for the cleaning crew to indicate that they are following this. And so again, we want our workplace to be a safe and comfortable place to work, so resources can have the transparency into the location that they're sitting at, know the last time it was sanitized, as well as the steps that were taken to make them feel comfortable to sit there and work productively. Let's go on to the next slide. So this is the final use case that I want to talk about, and this is really a combination of the first two. So there's a reservation system, and again, I think Sean's going to take you through this here in a second, so I won't dwell on it for too long, but understanding the sanitization schedule, but more importantly, providing the automation of kicking off a work order when the reservation is released, but also, and maybe even more importantly, providing contact tracing. So in the event that there is a COVID case reported, management can run reports to see who individuals may or may not have come into contact with based upon where they were located or the different conference rooms they were participating in that day. And the data is all in the system there for you. So the various people within your organization who have to use this for different reasons are all able to, and provide your resources facilitating a safe return to the office. So I could go on, but I'm sure that you would much rather see this rather than listen to me talk about it. So Sean, the floor is all yours for the product demonstration.
Great. Thank you, Matt and Ben. And I'm going to actually transition to a different screen here, and we'll jump right into the demonstration. So as Matt and Ben pointed out, we are going to show you how Nuvolo will help you return your employees safely and orderly to the workplace. And that starts with space planning. Preparing the spaces, getting them ready, and what you're looking at here is a floor plan showing some of the best practices that we've seen following CDC guidelines, WHO guidelines if we're an international organization, and then our own internal policies and procedures. You'll notice here we've got the checkerboard pattern on the floor plan in the cubicle area that we see a lot of these days to make sure that we're doing the 6-foot social distancing. And you can come into these interactive floor plans and truly shut off these locations like we've done here in gray, or you can just leave them unoccupied and stagger the seating assignments like we see here in green. And then you've got individuals on the floor plan, so you can follow your own internal practices and policies, making sure that you're enacting the return to work policy and plan that you and your organization has. So the space planning tools allow us to come in and create move plans and scenarios. You'll notice here we've got the return to the workplace scenario, and we also, like Ben and Matt mentioned, we're seeing a lot of phased return to the work approaches, right, where we'll have different teams come in, and in this case we've got a blue team and we've got a green team, and we can create these different scenarios and we can toggle between them and see how the floor plans look like. So in this case, if we've got the green team coming back first, and then next week or Monday, Wednesday, Friday, whatever the swap is on the teams coming in, we can help you build out those scenarios and get people back into the workspaces in an organized fashion. So this would be for use by your space planners, the facility manager, the executive team, whoever's a stakeholder in that process to get folks back to the workplace. We can have those different types of scenarios. You can create new scenarios at any point. If this is, maybe you have more than just 2 teams, you could have 20 teams, right, and plan for their return. Also, we can come in and we can create a copy of a current scenario and then make tweaks to that scenario. So perhaps we're dealing with a floor with hundreds of people and we only need to change a few of the seating assignments. We can do that as well. And as in addition to that, we can share these plans out. We can print them. We can get them into the stakeholders' hands who are going to need to help us with these moves, carry them out. So you'll notice here we are looking at a scenario summary of where folks were sitting before and where they're going to be sitting. Changes will take place. We can handle multi-floor move scenarios. So right now we're just dealing with floor number 4 at this site, but we could also bring in other cards and other floors and move folks around from floor to floor. And then also we can come in and drag and drop any individual to one of the vacant locations and make sure that they have a seating assignment. So all this leads to changes, and changes are the new norm: flexible seating assignments, flexible open work areas, where perhaps if you're sitting in one location this week, you may not be sitting in that same location the following week. So things are going to change, and employees are going to need to be able to find individuals quickly and efficiently so they can collaborate and continue with their work. So I'll jump to the wayfinding capabilities within Nuvolo. And here in this floor plan, we can see that this is the same floor plan, just zoomed out a little bit. And you'll notice that it's right now, our wayfinder is tapped into this location. So this is location 4013L. And I can come in here and type in any location I want. But we can also quickly come in and search for a coworker. So perhaps I need to find one of the folks that I collaborate with, and I find Dustin, and I need to know where he's sitting on the floor plan. This is our Where's Waldo tool, right? As things change, you'll notice that the pin on the map dropped right here, and this is where Dustin sits now. So I can quickly locate my coworker. I can quickly identify where they're at, even with all the changes of the post-COVID world, and we can get back to the work that we need to get done. You'll also notice here that I can, with the search tool, I can locate their phone number very quickly, and I could actually connect with them if we are integrated with the phone system. I can send them an email, and then I can also drill down into the user's profile here, my coworker, and find out a little bit more if I need those type of details. And this is building off of a hierarchy within Nuvolo. It's showing the American region, the campus is the Mexico City campus, the building is 100, the floor is number 4, and then this is the office space here. So it allows us to, in a very clear and logical manner, locate people. Using the wayfinding, you can also find places, things, assets, work orders. So it's a general search tool that allows you to have a lot of functionality to quickly locate people, places, or things on a floor plan. So with that, once we have folks located and we've got our spaces prepared for the return of our employees, we need to understand how space is being used in the post-COVID world. So I'm going to jump to a purpose-built return to the workplace dashboard. And this dashboard is going to help the facility managers, space planners, the executive team understand how space is actually being utilized. This first screen shows us the reservations that have been made for our organization, so we can understand, what is being reserved and what's upcoming. What do we need to prepare? for either, this coming week, for the green team, for the blue team, for whatever the use case is. We can track and trend those reservations over time and make real decisions based off of things such as the actual locations of these conference rooms and meeting rooms. I can understand how they're being reserved, and I can zoom out as well and take a look at space utilization site by site. So these are representing different buildings, and I can understand what's actively being used and what's being reserved. So instead of wondering how my space is being used, I can get the data that shows me exactly how that space is being used and make better decisions using that data. So next up is helping return folks to the workplace and looking at things like our capacity versus our occupancy. In this case, we may have a goal where we say we're in phase one, we're going to return 20% of the workforce, 30% of the workforce, 40% of the workforce. So with the capacity planning and utilization dashboard here, we can take a look at our overall capacity, and then we can also see our working occupancy and make sure we're hitting our target percentage, right? And this dashboard is also going to help you understand in your organization, perhaps in a hypothetical situation, if an organization pre-COVID had 6 buildings and that handled all of their employees and their whole workforce, maybe post-COVID, they're only at they're going to remain at 50% occupancy for the next foreseeable future. Certainly that's going to help you make macro level decisions, enterprise level decisions to say, do we need to keep all 6 buildings that we had pre-COVID, or can we deoccupy some of those leases and free up the resources and the capital that were going to those otherwise occupied buildings, right? So that's certainly helpful, and we can help make sure that you're pulling in the right data appropriate for your organization, planning for the capacity, the occupancy goals that you have. Next step is maintaining and having your arms and an understanding of your PPE inventory. So whether you're supplying that just to your employees or you're supplying it to patrons coming into the building, you need to understand what levels you have of PPE and what levels you need to keep on hand. So in order to do that, you need to have a proper inventory system letting you know what you have in your inventory at any given moment. And this is going to allow your buyers, your purchasers, and all those people in the supply chain when it comes to your inventory understand what levels they have here. So for example, here we have our available inventory, the inventory we've used, inventory we've ordered. You can track and trend that by the different pieces of PPE over time, so you'll have a clear understanding of how much PPE you have on hand, how much is being used, and what needs to be ordered. And then finally, all these spaces that are in your organization are going to need to be cleaned. They're going to need to be tracked and understood what status they are in. So we can come in and quickly see what spaces are ready to use, which ones are in the cleaning status, and those would be, out of the pool, so to speak, until they're ready to be used and cleaned and back into the reservation tool, which we'll jump into in a minute. But we can see things like the frequency of which we're sanitizing and the spaces that are not ready and the spaces that are ready. This is going to help all the folks that are involved in that process make sure that they're cleaning the spaces based off of actual utilization instead of just, cleaning programs that, pre-COVID, we cleaned everything once a week and that was just part of our cleaning schedule. Now, with this data, you're going to be able to make sure that your cleaning staff understands what actually needs to be cleaned versus what can we, what do we not have to clean since we're not even utilizing those spaces. And then, of course, we can take a look at the hand sanitizer stations throughout the facility, making sure that they're properly stocked, that they're in good working order, and that they're available for use for everyone that's coming back to the workplace. So from here, this is where the mobile technicians and the cleaning staff would be out walking the floors, using checklist procedures to ensure that that those cleaning procedures are happening per CDC guidelines, per WHO guidelines if we're an international organization, and also internal best practices. And we'd be happy to show you that in a personalized demo. So now, once we've got our spaces planned, ready, cleaned, and they're back in the pool, we're going to use the reservation application within Nuvolo and get people to be able to reserve any space that they may need. So working off the different sites and locations that you may have, an end user would come into the portal. They would select the time and date that they need a space and the area where they are. They can select whether or not this is a reoccurring reservation. And then they can also indicate the capacity of the individuals that they may need. And they can choose a layout. Here we're looking at workstations, but this could just as easily be conference rooms, parking garages, auditoriums, banquet spaces, you name it, whatever layout they may need. And then you can also identify the amenities that you need for your space. Let's say you needed an in-room projector, you wanted to have a whiteboard, and you want to automate that process to clean the workspace after each use. So they can do that from a quick and easy to use portal where they can come in, and then once they have the results from the search, the reservation tool shows all the available spaces that are in the clean and disinfected status, and now they can go in and reserve that space for whatever time period they may need it. So that's just a quick rundown of some of the capabilities within Nuvolo to help you return your workforce to the workplace in a fast and efficient manner as well as a safe manner. And we'd be happy to show you more in a personalized demo. But I'm going to turn it back over to Ben right now for some follow-up.
Excellent. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate that. Sean, if you go ahead and bring up the presentation, we'll cover off the last few slides.
Okay.
Excellent.
It should be popping up now.
Thanks, Sean. Excellent. And again, you guys, if you have questions from the demonstration, feel free to drop those in Q&A. We'll cover that here in just a second. But as Sean showed, you know, for us, it truly bringing together these departments, your maintenance team, your vendors, your space department, that is truly what we're referring to as the connected workplace. With Nuvolo, we're bringing together all people, locations, assets, and business services truly on that same platform. You know, historically, you'll see, especially in federal, you'll see these silos. You have a maintenance team, you have a space department, you have a project or planning, design, and construction team. You have someone that manages your real estate, someone tracking energy and sustainability, and protecting IT, typically looking at your OT cybersecurity environments or connected facilities devices. What we bring together is truly a single system to do all of that historically is run in silos. So all these use cases that Sean just showed, in addition to just truly managing the life cycle of your buildings, right? You think about leasing a location, right? Leasing a location in the federal agency, you guys are going to be needing to manage every piece of this wheel. You're going to need to sign a lease of that location. You're going to need to plan your space out for that particular building and understand, do you have enough room for the people you'll put in there? Maintaining that building and the maintenance associated with it. There's obviously projects to set that up and run that and ultimately track energy costs. So you guys can imagine all the use cases by being able to have this data in a single enterprise system, how powerful that can be to your organization. With Nuvolo, that's truly what we do. We bring together the connected workplace and offer workplace solutions for the enterprise. Next slide. Sean, if you can go to the next slide, please. Thanks so much. And one thing, just a little bit around architecture. Nuvolo, we are powered on a truly software as a service cloud platform. So there's no infrastructure required, right? This is completely provided as a service to your business. Those workplace services and capabilities, all is built on a platform called ServiceNow. And ServiceNow is one of the leading enterprise service management platforms in the world. Traditionally delivering IT, HR, customer service, and other areas for your business, with Nuvolo's Connected Workplace, you can truly extend that investment you may have already made in ServiceNow and now have your entire facilities and workplace teams also working in that same system, able to collaborate with other departments like HR and IT. Really powerful and truly delivered as software as a service to your business. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Matt to walk you through a little bit around the implementation process that iTech does.
Thanks, Ben, and thank you, Sean, for that great demo. So as important as it is to provide your teams the capability of a safe return to work, it needs to be deployed rapidly for it to be effective. So we have the experience and expertise to deploy the Nuvolo product and have a tailored solution up and running for your organization in right about 2 months. So that can safely help get your folks back into the office for this fall. I recognize now that we're bumping up towards the end of time. I want to be respectful for everybody. So please feel free to contact us for a personalized demo, as Sean was referencing. And I see that some of the questions that we're having, we can reach out to folks and have a one-on-one discussion. So, thank you all very much for your time today. And that being said, the contact information is on the screen. We look forward to speaking with everybody, and we look forward for the opportunity to help facilitate a safe return to the workplace for all of you.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate all of our participants and our speakers for being with us today. We really hope this webinar has been helpful. And if you have any question or would like more information, like Matt said, feel free to reach out. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.